Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about evaluating numerical expressions. So a couple of days ago we talked about numerical expressions and how we come up with numerical expressions. And today we're going to be talking about how to evaluate those expressions. So there's a couple of things that you're going to need before we get started with this video. You're going to need your math journal and you're going to need your pencil. And if you need to pause the video and get those supplies out, go ahead and do so now. All right, also before we get started, just a quick reminder of what a numerical expression is. So we talked about this a couple of days ago, but a numerical expression is a mathematical phrase that has numbers and operation signs, but does not have an equal sign. So an example of that is 9 plus 4 minus 3 times 7. So we have parentheses, multiplication, subtraction, addition, and we have numbers, but we do not have an actual equal sign. So today we're going to talk about how we evaluate something like this. So go ahead to your math journal and open up to the next clean page, and I would like for you to make sure that you have these notes written down. So at the top of your page you're going to have your title, which is Evaluating Numerical Expressions. And you're also going to have today's learning goal, and it is I will be able to write and evaluate numerical expressions. So a couple of definitions we need to get an understanding of before we can move on is, first of all, to evaluate. What does evaluate even mean? So when we're evaluating something, that means we're finding the value of it. So when we're looking at these numerical expressions, we're going to be saying how much, what is it worth? How much is it? What is the value of it? Also, order of operations, this is what we're going to be using to evaluate numerical expressions. And that is the order that we use when finding the value of numerical expressions. So there's a very specific order we have to use. We can't just start adding, multiplying, subtracting, however we feel like it. We have to follow a very specific order when we're evaluating these expressions. So go ahead and pause the video. Make sure you have all of these things written down. All right, so first things first, what is the order of operations? So we know it's the order in which we evaluate numerical expressions, but this is specifically what that means. So first of all, we start with grouping. So we look through a numerical expression and we see if there's any groupings that we can see. So that means any parentheses, any brackets, or any braces. Next, we're going to be looking for exponents. So an exponent is the small number that you place in the upper right-hand corner of another number. And we'll be talking next week more about what exponents actually are and what they mean. But for today, you just need to know what it looks like so you know what they are in a numerical expression. Third, what you're going to be doing is any multiplication or division in the numerical expression. But this is very, very important. When you see any multiplication or division, you have to complete it from left to right in the problem. That means you don't just multiply and divide whichever one you see first. It means that you have to go work from the start of the problem and work over to the right of the problem to solve any multiplication and division. So if you see multiplication first, then you solve that first. And if you see division first, or if division comes first in the numerical expression, then you solve the division first. Same thing with subtraction and addition. If there is a subtraction problem first, then you do the subtraction. And if you see addition first, then you do the addition. So you have to make sure that you're working through the problem in a very orderly way. That's what we call it, the order of operations. All right, so we got to add this in your math journal. So I want you to go to your math journal and you're going to write the following notes in. And I want you to make sure you have all of these examples written down like I have them. So first of all, you see that groupings is written, you have a large G showing which part of GEMS we're working on. So the first part of GEMS is G for groupings, and we have parentheses, brackets, and braces, and I want you to write it exactly as I have it on here. The reason for that is so that you can identify which one's which if you need to in the future. in sixth grade, they're going to be working more with brackets and braces. So this is kind of getting you ahead of the game there. For exponents, you're going to write your number 10 with a 3 in the exponent's place, and I want you to draw an arrow pointing to the exponent, which is the 3 in this case. And multiplication, again, very important. You solve from left to right. Whichever comes first in the numerical expression, that's what you do first. If you see, if there is division first in the numerical expression, that's what you do first. But if there's multiplication first, that's what you do from left to right. Subtraction and addition from left to right, same thing. Whichever one comes first in the numerical expression. And we'll be looking at some examples of that in a moment. So if you need to pause the video and write these down in your journal, please go ahead and do so. Make sure you have everything written clearly and neatly, because this is going to be helpful for you in the future. You're going to be referring back to this a lot. All right, so let's move on to some practice problems. So I have a couple of practice problems here to go off of first. But I want you to notice, first of all, is that I pretty much have the same numerical expression here, but the difference is that I added in parentheses down here, and I want you to see if that makes a difference when we're solving this problem. So I'm going to work through my order of operations when doing this first problem here, or working through evaluating this numerical expression. So first of all, I'm going to be looking for any groupings. That's the G in GEMS. So do I see any parentheses, brackets, or braces? And as I look through my expression, I do not see any of that, so I can move on to exponents. Do I see any exponents in my expression here? And I do not, so I can move past that one pretty quickly as well. And next, do I see any multiplication or division? And I do, so I'm going to go ahead and work through the problem, and I'm going to start on the left-hand side here, and I'm going to see which comes first, multiplication or division. And I see this division first. So when I'm doing division, and since this comes first, you can see that there's this 5 plus here and this minus 4 here. I'm ignoring those for now. I have to do the 28 divided by 7 first. I can't do 5 plus 28 and then divide that by 7 minus. I can't do that. I have to do whatever the digit is right next to the division sign. So 28 divided by 7. So what is 28 divided by 7? Well, it's 4. So I'm going to, this is how we evaluate a numerical expression. We solve 28 divided by 7, we cross it out, and we write down the answer right underneath it. And then we bring down the rest of the problem that still has yet to be solved. So we still have 5 plus, and we still have minus 4. Now the reason I'm doing it this way is so I don't make any mistakes and I don't mix up the order of operations. So do I see any more multiplication or division? I do not, so I can cross that out and move on to subtraction and addition. Now again, subtraction and addition from left to right. So that means I start on this side of my problem and I move in this direction. Whichever one comes first is the one that I solve first. So I see 5 plus 4 first. So that's what I'm going to do first. 5 plus 4 is 9. So I cross that out, showing that I've solved it, and I write the 9 underneath it, and then I bring down the rest of the problem, 9 minus 4. Now this is easy because that's all I have left, so I don't have to worry about which one should come first. So I cross that one out. 9 minus 4 is 5. So the value of this numerical expression is going to be 5. So let's move on down to this one. It's the same numbers, the same symbols, but I just added in some parentheses, and I want to see, do we get the same value or not? What do you think? What's your prediction? All right, so let's work through our order of operations when solving this. First of all, I'm looking for groupings. Again, that's the G-E-M-S. I followed the gems every time. Start with groupings. And I do see parentheses, so I'm going to start with parentheses, and I'm going to complete the one that comes first first. So I see 5 plus 28 in parentheses first. What is 5 plus 28? It is 33. So 33, sorry, I'm doing this on my trackpad on my laptop, so my handwriting's not the most beautiful today. 33, and then I still have, I'm going to bring down the rest of my problem. 33 divided by parentheses 7 minus 4. Now I'm going to check for any more groupings, and I do see another grouping, so I'm going to go ahead and cross that out and solve for that first. 7 minus 4 is 3, and then I bring down the rest of my problem, which is 33 divided by 3. Now I can use my multiplication facts to help me solve this. I know that 3 times 11 is 33, so 33 divided by 3 is 11. So the value of this expression is going to be 11. So as you can see, just by adding these parentheses, I completely changed the value of the expression. So you have to follow the order of operations, or else you're not going to always get the correct answer. You have to follow the correct order. All right, let's work on one more problem together, and then you're going to do some practice problems on your own. Please make sure, and I forgot to say this earlier, so I'm going to say it now. Make sure that you're writing these problems down, these practice problems, in your math journal. It's good to have examples to refer back to if you need them in the future. So if you need to rewind and go write those other practice problems down, then go ahead and do so. Otherwise, let's get started on this practice problem right now. So again, let's look through our order of operations. G, groupings. Let's look for any groupings first. I see parentheses, brackets, or braces, and I do see parentheses, so I'm going to do that part first. So I'm going to cross it out. 2 plus 1 is 3, and then I'm going to bring down the rest of my problem. 2 times 6 divided by 3. All right, so I don't see any more groupings, so I can cross that one off, and now I'm going to move to exponents. I do not see any exponents, so I don't have any E in my gems. Now I'm going to look for multiplication or division, and I'm going to see that there's actually a multiplication and a division symbol in here. So I have to figure out which one should come first. Now, I'm going to start on the left, and I'm going to work my way over to the right. So that means I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to see which one comes first, and it's 2 times 6. So that's the one I'm going to do first. 2 times 6 is 12. And I'm going to divide that by 3, bring down the rest of the problem. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. So the value of this expression is going to be 4. Now I know it's easy to not want to show this extra work, but this is the part where I'm going to really be I'm going to really be picky about you showing your work here, because too often if I just try to evaluate this without showing the work like this, it's so easy to make mistakes, and you guys will understand once you practice some more. It's very easy to make mistakes when you just try to evaluate it by looking at it in this one location right here instead of bringing down the problem each time. So please make sure that you're showing this amount of work. It doesn't take that much extra time, and it really pays off in the end. So now it's your turn to practice. So you have 5 problems that you need to do in your math journal. Please make sure you're showing your work. Please make sure that if you need to go back and rewatch any part of the video that you do, it will be posted on Edmodo, so that if you need to refer to it anytime you can. And I hope that you do well, and it's time for you to get to work.